Hey guys, welcome back. So today, if you couldn't tell, this was the first time that I've mowed this area through the chestnut trees. There's actually quite a bit of our property that's never been mowed so far. And my son actually, one of our sons just graduated college last week. So last week we had his graduation ceremony, and this weekend, today, we're having family come over for supper, having like a little cookout, a little get together. So trying to mow this all down so everything looks a little bit better when people come over tonight. So I started off mowing with with the Case tractor, and I know a lot of people have commented about the muffler being bent up, and that's from all the low-hanging limbs hitting that muffler. Well, as I was driving along, it just fell off, and you can see I'm probably about 6 inches from running it over. So I stopped just in time. But I figured that was a good stopping point to go ahead and do the introduction to this video. So I've also had some people ask about all these chestnut trees and how they're doing. So I thought maybe I would incorporate those two ideas in the same video. So first, we're going to let this muffler cool off before I try to remount it and try to get it on there straight and clamp down. But we'll take a quick look through the chestnut trees and just see how they're doing and give you a little update on those. So for those of you that don't know, we have planted chestnut trees here for the last 4 or so years. And they go all down the side of this property. They go back behind those trees and then down the hill. There's more over here to the side that you can't see in the camera. And then we've actually planted some back in the woods on our back side of our property. I think we ended up somewhere around 95 to 98 chestnut trees. I can't remember how many. And we have planted those really to attract deer to the property, to improve the hunting on the property, but it's also good for squirrels. Chestnuts are edible. It's something that we could maybe possibly harvest and sell. So it's almost like a chestnut orchard that we've planted here. And then I've also read in some homesteading books that you could actually use chestnuts to feed to pigs and use that as supplement feed for pigs. So we'll just have to wait when they start dropping nuts what we truly use them for. But my main purpose when I originally started planting them was one, for deer, and the second was when we bought this property, we were actually looking for wooded property because we always like camping and we like nature, and we really, I never thought there was enough trees on this property. So that's what we've been trying to do, is trying to turn this side of our property kind of back into trees, back into some wooded area, but trying to plant a beneficial tree at the same time. So most of the trees you can see right now was from our original planting. So these are probably 4-year-old trees, and they are, they're probably 8 feet tall right now. One over there is probably closer to 6 foot tall. That's probably closer to 5 foot tall. It does take a few years for them to get out of the tube, but I find that, it really depends on the tree and where it's planted. So it seems like the sunnier spots you can get them in, the better they grow if they don't have a lot of shade. So there is a little bit of shade around some of these areas. These are in a tree tube. It's got little holes in there so they can breathe, but it protects the tree from the rabbits eating the tree, the bark off of the tree, keeps it from deer. Deer like to browse, so keeps the deer from biting the tree off. Just protects the tree, helps it grow. Actually helps it grow taller faster. It forces it to grow straight up instead of out. So these two chestnut trees here, we actually expanded this billy goat area back here, and we moved the netting down this way. So those two trees were on the inside with the billy goats, and they didn't touch them for like a year. I thought everything was fine, but maybe a month or two ago, I think they started rubbing their horns on them or messing with them, and they were able to knock them over. Which these only have these little cheap bamboo stakes on these two, so they probably weren't supported the best anyway. But they were able to knock the tubes over, found the trees on the inside, and they actually bit them off right at the ground. So those two will have to be replanted. That's the only two that I know that's dead for sure. We'll do a quick walk around and make sure there's not any other dead trees, or see how many other ones we've had die, because we do have some in pots. We'll come back and replant any of the dead ones this year to refill the spaces. So this tree right here, this tree actually grew out of the tube, was able to make it out of the tube in 1 year. So this is the beginning of its 2nd year. So it's a really good growing tree. It hasn't branched out too much. I should be able to get this tube off. So you can see some of last year's leaves were trapped inside. Now you can see this thing is at least every bit as tall as me, so it's getting up there. You can see that tree tube. It makes it grow straight up and down, but it's only probably, it's not even a ½ inch thick at the base. But definitely making it grow up. Can't support itself, you can see that, right? So it has to stay inside the tree tube, and it'll stay inside the tree tube until you eventually cut the tree tube off, probably, you know, 10 years down the road or something, you'll probably cut this off. But you give this another, by the end of this year, it'll probably be able to stand up on its own a lot better. So, but you can tell the tree tube is helping hold it up, and you know, just makes it grow up tall faster. This is pretty good for 2 years, right? This is a 2-year-old tree, and it's almost 6 foot tall. Now, fun part's trying to put these back in. You gotta try to, especially when the one's this big, you gotta try to fold these leaves up. Let's start with the top. So I try not to take these tubes off because it's kind of a pain to get them back in, because you gotta kind of fold the leaves upward. Try not to damage the tree. Get them to fit inside. Once again, this one's on a cheap bamboo stake. I tried to put some T-posts. I had a bunch of used T-posts. I tried to put a T-posts on all of these, but there's no way I had like 100 T-posts. So I still have several of these with these bamboo stakes, and I do not suggest using them. So from what I can remember, this is a original tree from the first planting, and so it's close to 8 feet tall as well. And you can see it's going to start branching out once it gets out of this tube. So I'll get a total count on how many are out of the tubes. It's going to be quite a low percentage, really. So most of these trees in this area was planted 4 years ago, and this tree right here is our biggest chestnut tree, and it is probably 11-12 feet tall. It isn't attached to the post no more. It is freestanding at this point in time. Now you can't get the tree tube off, and we're just going to leave it on there. It's still going to protect the tree from a deer scraping on it. It's going to protect it from rabbits trying to eat the bark off of it. And when the tree finally gets so big, we'll just eventually cut this off. So the first time we planted chestnut trees, I think we planted 37 plants, and we had 25 of them we put in these tree tubes, and then the rest we just planted. Now every one that wasn't in a tree tube, I don't think I have any of those left alive. They either died, or I accidentally mowed them over with the brush hog, or, you know, an animal had bitten them off and killed them. So the ones I had in the tree tubes, I did have a higher success rate with those. So I think out of the original 37 we planted, I think we still had about 10 of them in tubes that died. So I think we only got about 15 left out of that original 37. Now most of those that died were actually in shady areas. I had a lot better luck with the ones out here in the sun. So you do have to think that these tubes let light through, but that does probably diminish it a little bit, and then you put them in a shady area and now they're even getting less light. So definitely better success rate with the tree tubes, but limited results in shady areas. So you got to keep that in mind. So out of all these trees, we ended up having, I think it's only 9 that are up and the leaves are out of the tube. And 8 of those are from the original planting. So you've got to keep that in mind. Out of 15 original trees, only half of them have even made it out of the tube right now. So just something to keep in mind. The tubes are 5 feet tall, and there is quite a few. When you look at them, you can tell they're just like this far from the top of the tube. So I think next year we'll finally have a bunch more come out and really start to branch out. And I think when they start getting branched out like that, then you're starting to get closer to you know, making chestnuts. I think they say on these trees that you should be able to start getting them in like 7 years. So hopefully 3 more years or so we'll be getting our first chestnuts. So here's the muffler that fell off the tractor, and you can see it's flared out pretty good here at the end. It's bent. So I'll probably take the clamp off of it. I may try to straighten some of this. May go pound on it a little bit on the anvil. Try to straighten that out a little bit. And then we'll see if we can get it to slide onto the tractor all the way it's supposed to. Maybe we can get it on there straight. But the reason this fell off is because all those low-hanging limbs always want to hit that muffler, and it just keeps on beating that muffler and bending it over. And that's what's happening there. I really just need to get around, and I really just need to trim a lot of these trees so that we can drive under it without running into all those branches. So see if we can straighten this out. Okay, it's down all the way. Okay, I think we're good. So I got the muffler back on the tractor. It is slid down completely onto the header. And then the clamp I've got a 1/2 inch lower than what it was before. I think the clamp was actually too high, and that was causing it to get bent easier because it really wasn't clamping where it was supposed to. So hopefully it feels like it's on there nice and tight now, so hopefully that's good. And I think we're ready to mow. So let's show you the next area that I'm going to tackle. So this area right here is between the white barn and the livestock barn. And some of the grass out here is very tall. It is, some of it's probably close to waist tall, depending on where you're standing. So I really wanted to give this area to the steers. I don't have enough grass for them over there, so I'm supplementing with hay as I rotate them around over there. But I really wanted to rotate them over here and let them have all this grass, because I definitely would have had enough pasture for the 2 steers if they would have had this area. But I just don't have enough time to put up even a simple 2 or 3 wire fence. I really don't have enough time to do that. But what is going to happen over here is this is where we're going to put our chickens and our turkeys and our ducks. We're going to move them out from the barn. We're going to move them out to the barn. We're going to move them out here in tractors, and we're going to grow them out here. We're going to move them every day. Should have plenty of room, you know, to slowly move them down to the other end. By that time, the chickens will probably be ready to butcher. Some of the turkeys we may be keeping. Some of them may get butchered. And then the ducks, when they get old enough, they're going to move out to our pond, and they're just going to live out on the pond. But that's what this area is going to end up being in the time being. In another week or 2, we should be moving birds out here. So we need to get it all mowed down and ready for that. Plus, we need to just get it mowed anyway. So before I jump back on the case tractor and continue to try to get all this tall grass mowed down, I want to give a quick shout out to one of our subscribers. So Mike W. up in southwestern Ontario. It is your birthday today, so happy birthday, Mike. I hope you have a wonderful birthday. Your son Matt ended up sending us an email a couple weeks ago. Let us know that your birthday was coming up and that you watch our channel and you enjoy our videos. So you can thank Matt for letting us know. But Mike, I do hope you have a wonderful birthday today. So so now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get continuing on mowing. I need to just try to get this all done as quick as I can. So this is probably where we're going to end the video. We'll probably just finish with some mowing, because as soon as I get done mowing, I got to start cooking. And I got to start grilling out. I'm going to have all the food cooked before everybody gets here this evening for supper. So I think that's it for today's video, guys. So I hope you guys have a great day. Happy birthday, Mike. I hope you have a great day too. And I'll see you guys in the next one.